When you imagine what prisoners do in their spare time, I'm sure you've seen prison shows that have given you erroneously stereotypical images like sharpening a shank or brewing some hooch or making a tattoo gun. I doubt you'd imagine what I do in my spare time, and that's petting the local bumblebees. In prison, I'm known as the bumblebee whisperer. Did you know that they were originally called humblebees? I love to hold and pet them. They're such cute and fuzzy things. They do not judge. They do not hate. They do not look at me like I'm crazy, stupid, or weird. I wish people were more like bumblebees. I have always been different than other people. Growing up, I never felt accepted by anyone. Even my parents thought I was weird. I knew I was different, but I didn't understand why, and that was frustrating. It was lonely, and I felt like an outcast. I sometimes still feel that way. Now, though, I know that it's okay to be different, and I understand what makes me so. A few years ago, after coming to prison, I was diagnosed with Asperger syndrome. Asperger syndrome is a disorder on the mild end of the autism spectrum, and its most common traits are impaired social interaction, repetitive behaviors, and obsessive interests. 1 in 68 children in the US are somewhere on the autism spectrum. It exists in all ethnic and age groups, and males are 4 times more likely to have it than females. Being this way makes me feel separate from others, but it also makes me feel special. For instance, I see things differently. Here's one example of the way my mind works. I have a lot of useful and useless knowledge. I'm good at math and science, and I also know that everyone over the age of 18 has 3 to 6 mites on every eyelash. That the dot above the letter I is called a tittle, and that snails can chew through limestone. I love math because there is a beauty to it. It is a system that defines perfection, which visually and mentally I crave. Oh, by the way, happy Pi Day. My favorite type of mathematics is fractals. A fractal is a geometrical object that appears erratic and irregular in shape, but has a repetitive similarity to its structure. They are often found in nature. Mountains, lightning, trees, and snowflakes are all types of fractals. I wish prison were more like fractals. Let me tell you what I mean. Fractals have an intricate consistency, something prison severely lacks. Do not get me wrong, prison has routine, but that routine is constantly disrupted. Here's an example. Sometimes when we're waiting to go to a location that's in a different part of the institution, a fight might break out, or a fire alarm could go off. Then we'll have what's called a cease movement, which means we're not allowed to leave the area that we're in. This can last a few minutes or several hours. Someone like me needs stability. If I have it in my mind that something is supposed to be a certain way and it does not happen that way, it gives me anxiety. I feel like my skin is going to crawl off and my heart is bleeding into my lungs. Unlike most people, I cannot get over it. It has taken years for me to go along with the flow, but I still feel the anxiety. It is things like this that make me feel like an outcast. Another trait of Asperger syndrome is the inability to feel empathy for others. Empathy is not the same as having sympathy or showing compassion. It is the ability to place yourself in someone else's shoes, understanding how they feel. Simon Baron-Cohen and Sally Wheelwright did a study to try to determine how much empathy people with Asperger's tend to have. It was called the empathy quotient. You take a survey, then you are scored out of 80 possible points. Those without some form of autism tend to score above 30. Women often scoring higher than men. I took the survey and I scored a 13. Being tactless, joking at inappropriate times, frustrating people because I do not understand them are all things I inadvertently do. Not having empathy relates to a lack of social skills. Unable to read nonverbal communication and facial expressions, I rarely know what to do around groups of people or even sometimes with just one person. I'm standing here talking to you, and I cannot really tell whether you're interested in what I have to say. When someone is intrigued, disgusted, upset, bored, if someone can't stand me, or even if someone likes me, I'm oblivious to it. If it's not super obvious, I don't see it. Despite these problems that isolate me, I have come to realize that though I am not normal, no one else is either. What really is normal? Normal is a cycle in a wash machine. People are different in many different ways. There are 2 programs that I'm a part of that have helped me learn some social skills, and I get to hear people talk about what does or does not define them. The first one is Toastmasters. Our Toastmasters Club is one of thousands around the world. Among many other things, we learn public speaking and leadership skills. I have also learned how to interact with others and how to give decent eye contact. The second program is a theater group called Freehold. They have helped me learn facial expressions and how to understand people's emotive states. Other than teaching me these skills, these programs have made me realize that all people have differences in them too, things that separate them from others. There is no normal. It is within an individual. It is our differences that make us special. Human variety is essential to our way of life. The world doesn't flow well with conformity. It flows with differences. One of the things that make me the way I am is Asperger syndrome. My diagnosis has helped me learn a lot about my behavior and what I can do to improve myself. I am the bumblebee whisperer. And in addition to loving bees, I have learned to deal with people too. I am different. That used to bother me. But now I understand why. And I accept myself for what I am, for all of my idiosyncrasies. I am only an outcast if I allow myself to be. It does not matter. It is okay to be different. It does not matter if you are different than others. It does not really matter why you are. It does not matter what others think of your differences. What does matter is that you accept yourself for who you are, embrace yourself, and become one with what makes you, you. Thank you.